Hello again. I'm Scott, the Fix-It Guy. Thanks for stopping by ItsFixable. Today, I'm going to see if I can figure out what's wrong with my Delta motor. This is a vintage 1940s 10-inch tilt-top table saw and 6-inch jointer combination built by Delta Manufacturing Company. Nearest I can date it is sometime around 1940. Maybe you saw my last video where I broke down this table and repaired the lift mechanism. If not, maybe you want to check that out. But as soon as I got everything back together, everything was working fine, and then my motor started giving me trouble. This tool has been in my family since the 1950s. It's always worked great. The motor is original. I actually had this thing rewound like, I don't know, 30 years ago, and it has worked flawless since then. But yeah, something's going on right now. I'm going to turn it on and maybe you can hear. See, it won't kick in. It's hooked up to 220 volts. It can also run on 110. I'll show you the motor label a little later on. So what I got to do is get in here, see what's going on with the motor. Over here there's an access cover that should allow me to see the commutator and the brushes. Unfortunately, I can't get that off without taking the pulley off. So in order to do all that, I'm going to dismount this from this base unit, put it on my workbench, and then I'll be able to get to work on it and see if I can figure out what's going on. This motor has been turned around in the unit. I made this pivoting hinging arm arrangement to run the switch. That gave me a pull rod for starting the motor rather than a up and down rod. This one goes in and out the way I rigged it. Okay, whew, that baby's heavy. All right, put this on the bench. Oh yeah, that's a beast. All right, I don't know if you can see that, but that's a little cover plate that should allow me to look in. And this large pulley here is in the way. So I need to take this pulley off. Okay, here's the right Allen. Oh, that was easy to turn. Oh, this is loose, it'll come right off. Look at that, nice. Now I've kept all this in working order all these years, so it's not like something that's just been sitting and rusting away. There we go. There's the key that goes on the shaft. I can hear the brushes running in there. You know, the brushes stay in contact on the commutator all the time in this style motor, so I can hear that going on. That moves freely. There's no play in that shaft at all. That's a good sign. All right, we're going to open this up so I can look inside. The screws come free just fine. Okay, here we go. A little dust in here. All right, this is what I'm looking at in there. See, there's dust, debris. This bracket here holds the brushes. There's a brush spring there. So I need to look at that. It looks like, I don't have very good light here right now, but the commutator is kind of dark colored there. That's not good. It should be nice and coppery looking. So I'm going to shut the camera off and see if I can't blow that out a little bit. Okay, I'm going to flip the motor on here so I can see what's going on. Got a lot of dust coming out of there. Something doesn't sound quite right. Everything seems to rotate smoothly. I like that. There was a little arcing on that first time I turned it on. Maybe it's because I blew the dust around in there and there was some dust on there. Put some light on this. Does that show up? I don't know if you can see there's a mark and then it says L for left. That's the direction of rotation of the motor. This bracket holding the brushes can rotate. There's a couple of lock screws in here which should release this whole thing so this can rotate. And probably if I turn it the other way, there's probably a marking with an R on it, and that would reverse the direction of the motor. So I'm going to do that just to see how the motor responds to changing directions. Okay, loosen those lock screws. Yeah, see this whole bracket moves. See, can I see another mark on here? It says L. That's probably center. Oh, here it is. It's over here. It's a little bit corroded, so it doesn't stand out quite as well. But there's the R right there. All right. I'm just gonna give that a test. Secure that down a little bit. Okay, here we go. Let me run this. No, that's not good at all. All right, what I've decided to do, I'm going to take off this bell end here, see if I can remove that whole armature. I want to clean up the commutator, definitely. To do that, to get this out, I'm going to have to pull the pulley on this side because the whole shaft and everything's going to have to slide out. Okay, the other thing I want to do here, before I take this off, is just take these springs off of the brushes so there's no like pressure pushing those brushes down on the commutator. Just lift each one out of the way here. Be kind of careful. This is old. I don't know if anything's brittle in here. That's a little hard to hook and hold on there, isn't it? There we go. To the side. Rotate that around. Find another one here. There we go. At the side. And one more. There's 4 brushes. That aside. Okay. Yeah, brushes are all released from tension. So these are just floating in there. Okay, great. Now I can take off these nuts. Oh, there was a witness mark on this thing right there where it's been apart before. And I also see a witness mark there. So I'll probably just, let's see, I'm just going to sort of renew that, scratch that in that way. Just to be sure, we want this pretty close when I put it back together, I think. Let's see. Let me loosen these. Yep, that turns very easily. So does that one. Simple. Nice. So does that one. I guess these don't really have to be super tight. You know, this thing fits really well. It can't go anywhere. It's just to keep it from vibrating apart, I suppose. Like I said, I don't know much about motors, if anything. Okay, that one wants to come off on the back side. There's a nut. Let me put the nut in there. Where's this one coming apart? It's coming apart on both sides. Okay, we'll just do the back side. Oop, that one. Whoa, come back here. That one fell right off. That wasn't threaded on there very far at all. And that one. Okay, so these are all free. That sounds like it's rubbing on something. Uh-huh. Oh, you know what? There's a sleeve. Okay, that's a little challenging. There's an insulating sleeve on that. I'm gonna leave that there. Yeah, there's an insulating sleeve. That one, I don't know if those had them. Maybe those didn't have them down there. Oh, there's a bug, a live bug. Look at that. little bug living in there. What is that guy? I don't know. He's a silly little guy. Okay, now how do I get this? I don't know. I'm going to soak this a little bit and let some oil. You know, this is just WD-40. I just use it to clean things, to free things. I don't really use it as lubricant. Maybe that can soak in there. I might have to let this sit for a little while. I might have to get some kind of puller that I can do this with. I don't know. Okay, this has been sitting overnight. I had to go get a puller, and then I had some other things to do, and it got too hot in the shop to work yesterday afternoon, so I left it. I have mounted a couple of eye bolts on to the housing here just by, nut on the inside, so that I can put this puller on here and try to pull this whole thing off. Okay, you see what I got going on here? A couple of eye bolts just nutted into the this cast iron bell housing on the end. I've locked the puller on this, and I'm going to just see if this will work to pull this thing off. Is it coming? Oh, there it goes. Pop, and it came. Wow, that was great. You can see that only fits in there like 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16 of an inch. That's it. There we go. There. Does that show up in the camera? It's the right angle. You can see everything there. Oh, there's a load of dust and some other debris down in there. Here's the bearing. Seems pretty smooth. Here's some washers. There's a felt seal. There's a washer, a couple other washers. Oh, it's a wavy washer under there. I'll bring the camera in here so you can get a better look. Tight in there. It's probably just the bearing. There we go. All right, careful. I don't want to scratch or break anything. There we go. Oh, good. That'll let me clean the dust out of the backside and off the fan here. So I'm going to try to clean off this commutator here. I've blown the dust out and vacuumed all of this. I'm just going to use some contact cleaner and see. I don't know why this is so black here, but maybe that'll come off. That didn't do much of anything. Use my little toothbrush here. Contact cleaner shouldn't hurt anything. It's made for electrical stuff. But that's sure not taking that off. I found a nice video. There's a guy named Randy Richards. His channel, Randy Richards in the Shop. I think his handle is RR in the Shop. You can check him out. He's got the exact same motor. He breaks the whole thing down, takes everything apart. He actually does a fantastic cleanup and paint job on here. He takes this shorting ring off the commutator so you can see what's in there. I don't want to take any of this apart that way. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. This guy looks like he knows a little more what he's doing. So check that out. I'm going to have to try to buff this up. This is just not coming clean at all, and that really needs to be cleaned to get better contacts. I think I'll find some sandpaper, see if I can buff this off. You're only supposed to use certain kinds of sandpaper on a commutator because you don't want any grit from the paper to get stuck into the soft copper and cause problems. You know, it'll just wear down your brushes and such. So I got to see what I got. Some aluminum oxide paper would probably be fine. Flint paper is probably good too. Okay, I know this isn't too sophisticated, but this is going to work, I think. That'll hold the motor. I've got a piece of aluminum oxide sandpaper here. This is 220 grit. I just cut or tore a little strip, and I'm going to gently burnish this. You know, you can make a curved sanding block to do this. The trouble is that this armature is not flat, so a sanding block on here is going to ride too high. So I need the flexibility for it to get into sort of this little indented shape. That looks like it's working. Yeah, that's starting to clean it up. All right, well, this is going to take a little while. I'm just going to work on this for a little bit. And then as we go here, I'll turn this on the block. And after I get this all cleaned up, we'll come back, take a look at it on the camera. Here's the commutator after I have it all cleaned up. You can see there's a little bit of black still. That's very fine scoring. And this is ever so slightly dished from wear. But the only way to really get that perfect would be to go to a machine shop, or if you have a lathe, put it on a lathe and mill this perfectly flat. Of course, then you would have to cut back the mica insulators, and right now these are still fine. I mean, my fingernail goes in that groove a little bit and traces the channel, so the mica is still recessed. So I think this is perfectly functional. Is it exactly up to spec? No. I'm ready to put this back together. I got to put my washers back on this shaft. There was that metal washer, then there's like these 3 fiber slip washers that were on there, and then this felt ring or pad, which I think is more like just a seal, and I think that just all lines up that way. I tilted this up, so I got a little gravity helping me. I want to be careful here. I don't want to damage any of the windings. There it goes. Okay. Get it to seat all the way in there. All right. I like that. When I clamp the housing in here, it might pull it in a little bit more, but that's pretty good. Okay, great. A spring tensioning washer, then this flat washer, then 3 fiber slip rings, and then the felt pad. And again, all this feels like it's in pretty good condition. I have the tension still off of the brushes. The brushes all move very freely. I didn't have to do anything with those. I haven't even taken them out. So I'm just going to slide this on here and see how everything aligns. Yeah, pretty good. All right. Yeah, I like it. Nice. Look at that, rolls nice and smooth. I got these rods that hold the housing together. These two are on the bottom. You know what? I'm gonna burnish these up a little bit, get some of the rust off them. Oh, and I forgot about this. These top ones each had this little bit of an insulator sleeve. It's like an old paper fiber insulator sleeve, and those were in here. I don't know why the top ones have it and the bottom ones don't. That's kind of a trick, getting all that to go together. You know, all these are bent too, which seems a little odd to me. I don't know why they'd be bent. So I'm going to take a few minutes, burnish these clean. Maybe I'll try to straighten all these a little bit so they're easier to fish through. And then we'll tie that together. Okay, I cleaned up these rods a little bit, straightened them out slightly. I had to pull this off, put those sleeves up there, slide them onto the rod first. I shot them with a little silicone lubricant just so they would slide on easier. And sorry, I got going here and forgot to turn the camera on. We're rolling now, and this is all going together fine. These simply slide through. Takes a little fishing to get them to, you know, line up. And I can see the ends come through. There it is. So they're just barely coming through because this isn't fully compressed. Let me put the nuts on loosely just so they don't fall out. I suppose I can use these nuts to kind of pull this together a little bit, but definitely don't want to overstress these. I lined up my witness mark, by the way, when I slipped this together. There we go, it's going in. I'm going to go half a turn here, half a turn there. Okay. Half a turn there. Half a turn there. Oh, a little more. Okay. Yeah, that's still rolling very nice and smooth. I like that. Let me look. Man, this thing is heavy. Let me look at the housing here. Where's my flashlight? I got to put the springs back on the brushes. Wait, let's see. Use this one. I don't know, hopefully that shows up in the camera, but there's one. Rotate this guy around. There's two. Turn this some more. Oh, that one's falling out there. We got to push that down in there. Like that. Spring back on there. That's three. And that one's falling out a little bit. Push that back down. Come on, around. And that's four. Okay. So they all have spring tension. I'll turn this around. Now, I'll bring the camera up even closer down here so you can see. I highlighted the marks on this with a black pen. Those are the original marks for left rotation and right rotation. I just used a black pen and sort of rubbed it into the indent. There's a mark on the casing here, so just by moving this, you should be able to make this thing, the motor, rotate either left or right. There's a certain amount of adjustment in it, no doubt. It was set up in a left-hand rotation, which Means I want this right about there. We lock it down with the screws that come in through the back here. Gentle at first. And I'm not going to overdo it right now because I want to test the run on this before I know I have that in the right place. Okay, this is exciting. We're going to turn this on, see how it runs. Oh, nice. That runs very smooth. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I like it. Kicks right up to speed. Yeah, it runs great. Barely even a little spark when it kicks in. Smooth. Makes a little bit of noise, but you know, the brushes ride on the commutator. This isn't the design where the brushes lift out of the way, so you always hear that. So, what I have to do is mount my cover plate back on, put my pulleys back on this, and then I'll be ready to put it back on the saw. You don't need to watch me put this back together because you saw how I took it apart. So I'll be back with you in a few minutes and we'll test it under load on the saw.